Radical.
Welcome to Flea Market Stories, documenting one man's journey into the world of flea marketing. Going to quickly tie up some things I want to talk about that actually got, resolved. Some issues that got resolved. For the most part, there's three of them. One, you remember the comic couple where I worried about the man's wife that was hanging out there a whole lot, and I was kind of worried she was flirtatious. I was just worried, right? Well, that fixed itself because they both showed up after she would show up without him saying he's at work. They both showed up. They weren't there long, but they were holding each other's hands and they shared a kiss. And that was great. So that means they officially are not separated. They're back together. Really good. Just really good on many fronts. So I'm happy about that. Another thing was the issue I had with the guy that bought 2 copies of GTA for PS2. And then, he first claimed that basically it was the discs that were the problem. And he came by and I showed him it weren't the disc. It was his system. He lent me the system. I couldn't fix the system. And then I got overconfident, sent him a video of a disc playing in the system, but that damn PS2 laser, when it goes out, sometimes it goes out and it doesn't read either DVDs or CDs. So I resolved that basically by giving him an option instead of, I gave him his back that basically was not playing GTA. He knows the guy's going to fix it. Giving him an option to actually buy a Slim off of me that didn't read CDs and CD-based games. Basically, it reads all the important games, all the big games that are on DVD on PS2. I said it will read I fib maybe 80 to 90% of the games are the ones that are important, like Grand Theft Auto, Gran Turismo, Jack and Daxter, stuff like that. I said, I'll sell you this for $30. And he was happy with that. So he bought that for $30. I gave him the other system back. Problem is, literally right after I sold him that, a guy came with some good PS2 games. Ridge Racer, Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver, some other ones. Nothing super rare. I think there might have been one horror game in there. I'm not sure what it was, but it wasn't super rare. But he wanted me to clean the games, and I cleaned the games, but I told him I just sold the PS2 that I would use to actually test the games out to see if they, working on it after my cleaning. So it's what you got to do. You got to make choices, man. You got to. And right now I'm out of PS2s because I ordered a PS2 and I'm not going to go into that story. It's just kind of sad and depressing. But basically I got PS2s. I got broken PS2s and I'm pissed the fuck off with PS2s. When I'm ordering them online, I am no longer just taking a shot on them. I'm basically going to only order one online that not only shows the power is on, but it's playing a game and has footage from the game in the background. Because I just do not trust the PS2 lasers. People talk all kind of junk about the red rings on the 360s, but I think a far bigger problem is the weak-ass lasers on the PlayStation 2. I rarely ever see 360s with the laser out, but I've seen so many PS2s now. It's just infuriating. It's infuriating. So yeah, those two. Let's see, was there a second or third? The third one. I told you I'm getting a lot of this out of the way before I get into the main topic, the main story of this, just because I don't want to have separate uploads. I talked about the parasite. The friendly, the happy parasite, the guy that's very friendly and helpful, but ultimately he is a parasite. He comes by, he wants to become part of the sales, he wants to talk to the customers, especially the pretty young, hot thing customers, or any of the pretty ones, doesn't matter, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, any of the pretty female customers he wants to talk to, it seems like, And there are some pretty females out there in their 40s and 50s. there are some women that take care of themselves. So don't think it's just, just a certain age group. There's a lot of hot women out there. So I always tell people, like, if you're just out there playing the field, do not limit yourself. All right. Do not limit yourself. There's a lot of hot women out there, and don't be judgmental. All right. Hot old broads need the D2. All right. That should be like a bumper sticker somewhere. But anyways, the way I handled the issue was he came by and he basically just went to the right side of the table and he asked if, I forget what he asked, if he could help sell today or something like that. I forget how it came up, but I shouldn't have, but I said, okay, well, you can help me sell things if you want to for store credit. And that kind of like took him back a little bit because he's thinking like store credit. I mean, he still kind of went for it, but I'm thinking, okay, I'm not giving this guy a dime. But, if he wants to help on the right side of the table, maybe help sell some DVDs or some stuff that I really have trouble selling with or whatever, fine. But I meant him to actually follow in my footsteps and have more of a casual, laid-back approach, which is what I have. Anyone's going to help me out at the store should understand that other than just say, hey, how you doing? Nice weather we're having or something like that. Just be there. Just be there. Light conversation. Don't even talk about the things you're selling. Just change it up. Give them a compliment on what they're wearing, Don't come across as being pressuring them into buying something. Well, right after that, I mentioned I have like little mini systems or whatever. He goes into full sell mode. He picks up a mini system, that they're maybe casually looking at. He starts going over the games and everything on the background. I'm like, oh, hell no, I got to put an end to this shit. So, of course, he basically scared that customer off. And I said, dude, I'd said not to pressure people, but of course he's invested because he wants to sell something because he wants the credit. He wants store credit, which means he wants some video games. So of course he's going to try to, push that on to people. Whereas I'm more casual. I'm laid back. I know I'm going to get a couple hundred probably every day from sales. I'm not stressing it. I sit back and I let my displays do the selling for me. Everything looks nice. Prices are reasonable. I just let things sell on their own for the most part. I'm not pressuring people because I'm thinking people have already probably been pressured 9 or 10 times at other tables they've went to. Maybe they just want to chill and talk about something other than the things I'm selling. Maybe the sports game or like a movie that came out or someone on their t-shirt, I feel people appreciate that more than super sell mode because they're too used to that from desperate, thirsty people, desperate to get sales. And this guy, completely opposite than me, is desperate to get sales. So after that, I had a conversation with him. I said, hey, man, here's the thing, right? I'm here to mostly sell. Well, I'm here to sell for me. And outside of like deals I have with people to where they bring me stuff to sell, then situation where I don't really need any help selling. And I lied to him and I said, I claim like I hardly wasn't selling anything, which is kind of a lie, but there are some slow days. I said basically, I'm here to sell my stuff, man. It is how it is. I'm here to sell my stuff. And this is, how did he even start? Okay, yeah, that day he came by and he had this is maybe even before or after, I forget. There's all kind of stories around this guy. This is going to be brief. I was going to get this out of the way, but my apologies, right? I just think it's relevant to mention. He had a Xbox controller. He had an quotations Xbox One controller that had some Korean address on it. It was one of these deals to where it looks like a Xbox One controller, has the mold, but it is not even a third-party controller. It's fourth or fifth party, man. This shit must have been assembled by little Korean boys or something. I don't know, man. This was a junky ass looking controller, and I could almost guarantee this thing would not work because it had the USB. It was wireless, but it basically just had the USB that goes into the front of the Xbox One. Because I'd never seen that before in an Xbox One, and I'd never seen that particular controller from an address in Korea, man. Shit wasn't even in English. So somehow he bought that for, what did he say he paid for it? I can't remember if it was 20 or 30. I can't remember. Maybe it was 20. But he was wanting to get 40 for it. Now he sold it. I don't know if he sold it for 40, but he must be an amazing salesperson, because he might be bullshitting. I don't know. He might be lying to me, but he claimed he sold for 40. I do not know. Maybe either he's an incredible salesperson that I don't know that has that ability, or he knows somebody that's just a sucker and he goes to sell some things to. But $40 for a Xbox One controller, I don't think he sold for that much. Because in the stores, that's almost as much as you pay for a new Xbox One controller. You know, an American one. Maybe they're still all made in China, but still with American writing on it. Damn, man. Now there was a table to the left of me that was free. All I did for him, I think he was trying to sell the controller at first, I offered him a stool to sit at the table to the left of me. And I said, I don't know you. That's not my stool. You took the stool if management comes by and sees you trying to sell stuff. Because I told him, you know, this was right after I had paid $220 for rent for the month. I paid $220 rent there. And I told him basically, you know, I paid $220 for rent. I spend a lot of money to acquire all these items. And I didn't call him a parasite, but I basically just said, like, you know, I'm here. In not so many words, I hinted that he was just kind of swinging by, trying to, you know, take my fire from me and maybe he's just a fan. Maybe he is, you know, poor fella. Maybe he's just, I mean, I wasn't too hard on him, man. Because like I said, it's not that he's completely just, he's not a bad person, man. I think he's just half broke, and he's a hanger-on, man, is what he is. Maybe he's a groupie, he's a hanger-on, he's an admirer of me. That happens and everything, but I just have to cut ties, man. I can't have somebody just trying to help me sell things when I don't need that kind of help. Because so many times he's just scared off people. Not that he's not mean, but he's kind of weird, man. So when he's there, I always direct him over to play some games, or that's all I do. I'd say, hey, man, you know, play some games over here? Because if he's just sitting there and he's like just a blank stare looking around, then it's just weird, man, because I'm not talking to him. He's just kind of like sitting there just looking around. Yeah. Now, he does sometimes offer to help me break down and, you know, take all the cords and put them in the bag and everything. So, yeah, you know, we're still kind of buds and everything. But, nah, it's sometimes when people feel like they're your bud, they feel too comfortable. One day he brought like a weed eater, and I thought he was trying to go sell a weed eater and shit. Like he just said to the side. And I even stopped him. I said, hey, man, you know, I don't sell weed eaters here. You know, I'm just, any attempt he has to sell something there, anything that he sells to a person there is a potential sale that I'm not getting.